Hi, folks. Welcome to the Prepared Homestead. This is Travis. Thank you all for stopping by to watch today. We have a special show for you. For those of you that watched yesterday's episode, you're probably going to have a good idea of what we're going to be talking about. And yesterday we talked about a family that has recently gone through a pretty traumatic event, a very, very big tragedy in their life. And so I wanted to get them on, and I understand that they're busy. There's a lot of things going on in their life right now because of this, but I wanted their story to get out because I think it's worthy of that. And for those of you that did not watch yesterday's show, this family very recently, in the last few days, actually, their entire home was burned to the ground. They thankfully, everyone was safe. No one was injured, but from what I understand, they had a complete total loss of just about everything that they own. They're a very large family, and they homeschool. They kind of homestead. You know, the lifestyle that we talk about on here. And one of the main things that we talk about on this channel all the time is community, and how we need to stick together as a community, because for far too long we have pushed off the responsibilities of taking care of each other onto other people, government, things like that. And we need to take care of our own and to work together, kind of like what we used to do hundreds of years ago. And so here's a case of people within our own community that is going through something, and many of you have already given, and so we want to thank you a lot for that. And for those of you that's given, I wanted to show you the family that you've given to, and then for the others, I just want you to just to hear their story. And so I want to thank both of you for coming on today. I know that you're going through a lot. I'm sure between the emotions and the business end of things, of figuring things out, you're both, I'm sure, are just overwhelmed and swamped. So I do want to thank you for taking a little bit of time to come in on the show today.
It has been a lot, for sure.
Yeah, I can imagine. I want to keep this short because of that reason. Don't want to go too long. But like I said, a lot of the viewers already kind of know, the general of what's gone on in your life recently. So I wanted to do a little bit of a backstory so people can kind of understand you, because a lot of people, especially nowadays, maybe not so much on my channel, because there's a lot of homestead people, a lot of Bible believing people, on my channel. So they probably get it more than most. But, in today's world, when you hear of a family that has a bunch of kids, you think, well, that's kind of weird. No one does that anymore. No one has a, a whole basketball team of children. And so, I wanted to get a little bit of a backstory so people understand, and then also just the tragedy of what you folks have gone through recently. So if you wouldn't mind, kind of tell us a little bit of backstory. You guys have several children, and a lot of them have been adopted. What led you down that path? That's not necessarily a path for everyone. So if you could kind of fill us in on that, of what the two of you kind of went down that path of adopting children.
Well, I mean, it was the Lord. He called us to do this, and we obeyed that call. Particularly with our last adoption, we were not in the market, so to speak, for more kids. We just knew that what God had told us to do, and we were going to be obedient in that.
Mm-hmm.
So we have 9 amazing children, most adopted with different special needs.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's amazing. We have a good time.
I bet. And that's something else, that several of your children are special needs children, which is, it's admirable for people to adopt children. I believe more people should, but not a lot of people adopt children, or at least attempt to, that have special needs, because it's, there's so much added burden, financial work and all that. And yet a large amount of the children that you have adopted are special needs, if I'm correct, right?
Yes, actually, all of our adopted children have some level of either a medical condition or a special need.
Right. And so, I mean, that in itself is, if someone wants to ask, well, who are these people? What are they like? A lot of people want to know when they're hearing a story. Well, for someone to the selflessness in adopting as many children as you have, and them being special needs children, that right there, just, I mean, you're certainly not getting rich off of adopting children. That's, it's not some kind of scam or a scheme, to make money. So for someone to do that, I think it tells us a lot about who you are as a person, as a couple, where your hearts are to do this for children, that there's so many needy children out there that need this.
There is a common misconception. People truly believe that you can adopt for the money.
Hmm.
And so I'm not smart enough to figure out how that works because
Right.
we haven't figured it out yet. We get no financial assistance for
Right.
our adoption program, which is something that people believe happens, and
They
we
do, yeah.
don't.
I
Yeah.
I I hear that a lot of people, my wife and I have looked into adopting, and it's very possible at some point in the future we may do that. And that's something that you're right, a lot of people, they think that, you adopt and then you get like a big check every month from the government for adopting children, and it doesn't work that way at all.
I mean, there is certain circumstances when that is the case, but in all of our adoptions, that is not the case. We
Right.
do not qualify. So
And another thing, you am I correct? You guys homeschool? That's what
yeah.
I believe. Yeah, you homeschool, and I guess up until just a few days ago, you had kind of a little homestead going on. Had some animals, and
We
so if
did, yeah.
yeah, tell us about that. I'm sure. I mean, I'm making an assumption here, but living the same kind of lifestyle and having a bunch of kids, I would assume that was part of the dream, not to just give a good life to children, but to give them that kind of a life that not too many children nowadays get to experience.
Right. Yeah, we
So,
have I think we had what, close to 50 chickens at the time, and we were working on building our sheep flock, and of course the homestead garden, things like that. And,
hmm
uh, I think according to most modern society, the idea that we don't have not only cable TV, just the actual machine of a TV that we do not have seems really
right,
odd to people. I mean, the kids are just outside and enjoying being with the
Yeah.
animals and climbing trees, like, and then what? I
exactly.
mean, generation think that was the norm.
Yeah.
It's like
hmm
this the kids sitting in front of TVs and video games is just like it's just mind blowing to me.
Yeah.
That's not what we
Yes,
wanted for our family.
Yeah, it's
amen.
absolutely not for our family. So we looked for this house for, was it almost 8 years? We finally found the property, the house,
hmm
and we've lived there. We signed the mortgage, which we're working to pay off as quickly as possible, so we can be as independent, off grid kind of as we possibly could.
Right.
A year ago. So we had been living there about a year, and
Mm.
this now we're about to move into a rental in a
So
subdivision.
Mm. Well, that leads us up to what happened just recently, a few days ago. So, and I understand it's probably emotional, but can you kind of go us through the steps of what happened with the loss of your home and kind of up till now, maybe, or whatever you feel comfortable? Um,
It was crazy.
I can
I
imagine. Yes.
all of a sudden Ryan's like, the house is on fire. You need to get outside. And we're trying to make sure all 9 children are outside. Some of them weren't even really wearing clothes. They were just in their underwear, as I'm sure none of your kids have ever done in the
Right.
country.
Right. Exactly.
I said, you should wear a shirt and maybe some pants. So only half of them had on shoes. We're counting heads. We're making sure everybody's safe. We actually
Mm.
couldn't find one of our teenage sons for about 30 minutes.
Yeah,
it was the worst
Oh,
30
my.
minutes of my entire life. We didn't know if he was in the house or not.
Right.
So yeah, and then we just watched it burn to the ground.
Oh, my goodness. And from the pictures I've seen, I'm going to assume it's a total loss. I mean, it looked like from what I had seen, I can't imagine there being much left after that.
What was left was almost immediately stolen by looters and vandals.
That was the next thing, yes. Yeah, so
Yeah.
you guys
Anything
left.
pop-
I'm sorry, do what now?
So a lot of the copper wiring, the propane tanks, the power lines, they just are, even some of the electrical out of the like the wiring harness off of the vehicles is because we were going to move the vehicle, but of course, when hindsight, it was like, oh yeah, the keys are hanging up next to
they're in
the kitchen sink. So
we can get the cars out of the way. Never mind.
Oh, man.
So the coal melted. But even without the melting, now they've been kind of stripped of parts and things like that. So we aren't really sure what's going to happen with that.
Oh,
and one
my.
of the they kind of expensive handicap accessible van to take we have 3 kiddos who are full-time wheelchair users.
Mm-hmm. Right. So you're going to need obviously more than just a normal vehicle, not just because of the size of the family, but because of the special needs. And so those need to be replaced.
very difficult to find. It was a miracle that we found one, let alone just being able to afford one.
Right. And then, a lot of people say, well, this is what insurance is for. And sure, insurance, they cover things, but I mean, I've never gone through my home burning, but I've gone through other things with insurance. And I don't know of anyone that can tell a story that insurance covered everything and they came out on the better at the end. So insurance doesn't cover everything. And so that's where, what we're doing of trying to give the opportunity for people to help. That's where that comes in. And not only that, not only the insurance not covering everything, it takes a little bit of time. You immediately have expenses after this. I mean, you guys have to find a place for 11 people to stay the night because, well, you can't sleep in your house. And so in just clothing and then of course, I don't know, but I'm assuming that some of the children, like you said, they have wheelchairs. There's certain things that they need to live. So that's where the people that have been listening to this video and the video yesterday, they've can give to kind of help out because that's what we're supposed to do. I mean, I believe it's very, very plainly commanded in the Bible that we're supposed to take care of our own, to take care of each other. That's part of that loving each other and that loving your brother. And so I wanted to present that opportunity for people that can. Now, there's certainly people out there that aren't capable of financially helping. And I'm sure you understand that and, get it, but they can certainly pray, share this story with others. What are there any specific needs or anything that you want to talk about right now that's going on since the fire and since the looting of your stuff? That any other part of the story you want to tell everyone?
The first entire day after the fire, we actually didn't even call our insurance company for almost 48 hours because we were scrambling around trying to find medications and medical supplies to even keep our kids alive.
I can understand that.
That has been met at this time. We are good. But one thing that our insurance is not covering is my father's vehicle. I mean, our vehicles, we had full coverage. My father is retired. He was an RN for over 30 years.
Mm-hmm.
And, doesn't have a lot of income now. And he just had liability only. And his vehicle was actually right next to the propane tank that exploded. So, yeah, it was pretty well melty. And the insurance company has assured us that that is not covered under our homeowners insurance policy, and that his liability only will not do anything. So
Okay.
we feel very obligated to take care of our father, you know, out of respect. That's what the Torah would have us do, is to make sure that our father is taken care of. So a lot of the donations that we've received are going towards buying him a vehicle so he can get home to start his cancer treatments. He found out he has cancer about a month ago. He actually came to see us for a couple weeks to spend time with his grandbabies before going to start his cancer treatments, knowing he was not going to feel well.
So it's just one thing after another. Now, I will say this, in my personal experience, and then since I've told this story, there have been other people that's kind of told a story of their own, and I believe, and I'm sure you folks believe too. I think my wife, she's standing here next to me, but I don't know if she'll get on the camera. She's very camera shy. But we believe, and I'm sure you do also, that Father, there's going to be doors opened. Where this will lead you, myself, I have been through tragic events. My wife has, others have, and looking back, the doors that are opened because of that, and we aren't even capable of understanding what he knows and what he can see, and so. If nothing else, just an uplifting, word to you folks that there's still more to come, more good to come. Don't.
Throughout all the adoptions we've done and just our life together, is God is very faithful, and that's what's just kind of kept us very at ease and with peace, and it's just a process, and we know we're in God's hands.
Right.
We have concerns. We're just taking our time and working through it. It's a challenge, but we know it's going to be okay in the end.
Amen. Well, there are thousands of people praying for you, just through this channel alone, and through, of course, all of your personal contacts and everything. Do what now? Huh? Huh? My wife is wanting to say something.
Is it possible to talk?
Yeah, go ahead.
In there?
Yeah, go ahead. Come on in here. This
I'm
is my wife.
only doing this because I love you so much. I've known Jareen and Ryan actually. For since 2012, I think, or 11, maybe before that. I don't remember. 10, maybe. I can't hear you. Okay. Okay, I can hear you now. And she's seen me through some really difficult times, and she's had difficult times before that. And I honestly don't know another woman with a heart as big as Jareen's. I just have, and you, Ryan, I'm sorry, I don't mean to leave you out at all, because the two of you together are just incredible, and the things you do to help children and to help people. And I've heard just a story from the friend that's helping you organize things. You're just amazing people, and I'm so sorry that all of this has happened, but I know there's a purpose and there has to be reason. But I just wanted to say that I can't think of a more deserving person. She's given more than she's ever, I think, received or asked. And I don't talk a whole lot to Ryan, so the same is true for him, though. And it's just awful. It's terrible, and I'm so sorry I'm not there with you, but physically. But I'm just glad that we're able to help in some capacity, and I just want everybody to understand the kind of people that you two are and the journey. I don't know, have you talked at all about the Ukrainian journey and oh gosh, so much stuff that they've done to adopt these children and to help other women who are in need, and people in general who are just in need. And now it's your turn, and now you get to be blessed. I love you so much. I'm going to get off now. I'm sorry. I don't like the camera very much. And I just thank you so much for letting me talk. But I appreciate you.
Well, we absolutely believe that this is the beginning of something amazing. We trust that God has something good. Actually, the day that this happened, and the Lord had laid it on my heart to be fasting for our family. And I had been fasting for 40 days. And this was the 40th day when the house burned down. And I know the word talks a lot about his refining fire. So I know this is the beginning of something amazing because he is faithful. And this is the beginning of a new journey and a refinement. And we're going to come out on the other side just immensely blessed. We already are. It's overwhelming.
Amen. Amen. Folks, thank you for both of you for coming on here. It's trust me, this has been a blessing for us, and I know for the people that are listening to hear that there's still people like this out there, people like you. For those of you watching, down in the description below, there are different links that you can go to. There's a GoFundMe account that you can go and give money to. There's also a couple of links that you can give directly to this family through Venmo and Cashapp. That money goes directly to their account. There's also a Facebook group that's started to kind of give updates on what's going on in their lives and stuff. There's also I'll have to add this, but I believe that there's an Amazon list where there's things that you're in need of right now, and people can order that, and kind of a wish list, kind of like a gift registry type of thing. So that'll all be there. And for those of you again that can't give, we're living in tough times right now, so we understand that, all of us, but you can still pray because in the end, I mean, the money's nice right now. You have needs. The money's nice, but in the end, I know you believe this, that the prayer is means more than the money.
Absolutely.
And so for we ask that you folks out there listening to this to pray, add this family and their 9 children to your prayers, your daily prayers. If you have a prayer group or anything, we ask that you add it to that prayer group. Yes, hold on a second.
Added it to the church where Leslie's volunteering.
Yes, we've contacted local churches around us, and we've added your names to local church prayer groups also. And you can do that back wherever you the listener, wherever you're at, you can do that also. Even if you don't go to church at that particular church, most churches, you call them and say, hey, can I add this family to your prayer list? They'll do that. There is power in prayer, and we believe that here on this channel. Thank you for coming on. Is there anything else that before we end that either of you would like to say?
Yeah, I mean, I know this is slightly off topic, but while we have the opportunity, I know the idea of adoption can be very scary and daunting, and anybody out there is even considering it, contact you guys at the show, and we'd love to sit down. If you're local,
sure.
we'll go out to dinner and chat about it. I mean, it's a whole other community in that regard, and we'd love to help. If you just have general questions about adopting, because every time we've adopted, even the special, well, they're all special needs children, but even the special needs children, every time we've gone through, it's like we're going to help save and enrich their lives. They've done more for our own program. That's why we have so many children, because every time each edition has enriched the entire family's lives so much. I mean, they give more to us and to the whole than we could ever provide for them. So if you're considering it at all, even just if it's just a slight hint in your mind, reach out to us. We'd love to sit down and chat with you and tell you just. I mean, we could spend hours and days explaining to you how joy that we've been doing this.
Right.
Yeah.
There's there's an email also in the description my personal email, the channel's email, if you would like to get a hold of this family for what he was just talking about, what Ryan was, go ahead and you can email me, and I can make the connection. I have no problem. My wife and I, we both check the email, and so we would be glad to do that. If there's anyone that has any questions about adoption.
Immediate need for the pledge for storage.
Yes.
Things come in, they don't have a place to
Right. They're trying to, I do. My wife told me to tell this, so I hope I'm not overstepping. She said that you folks do have an immediate need for paying for like storage for things. Obviously, you can't store it in your house anymore, so you've had to rent a storage unit. And so for those of you out there that's willing to give, that is something that they're trying to do. They need to have a place to store things, because obviously they can't store it at their house that's not just only burned, but people have looted. So there is a need for that also. Well, thank you both for coming on here. I'm sorry, go ahead.
We desperately appreciate the prayers. We are going to need a lot of direction.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, just for our children's hearts, that they would be guarded from the pain of this,
Mm-hmm.
and direction, that we would just follow in the steps that he's ordered for us to go in.
Absolutely. Yes, we will do that. We will continue. You will be in our prayers and our family time in the evening when we pray. And if there's anything that we can do for you, let us know. Because of this channel, there's people that may live in your area that watch the channel. So if there's a need for someone to come help with something, it's possible that I might be able to reach out to, some of my listeners that would be able to come physically and maybe help with something. Yes, there's different people already in that area of Texas that have spoken out to me and said, that they would be willing to help if you needed actual physical help, clearing or building or anything like that. So I definitely
hotel room right now, as far as like a lot of the physical material needs is not as urgent. I mean, because there's only so much you can pack into a hotel room.
Right.
The thing that really helped the most is obviously the prayer, and the second is the fellowship. So just so we had a friend that we just made as a fellow rancher in our area, just being able to sit down and just have lunch with them and just not talk about fires and just talk about sheep and chicken and just the life we, right? That's bigger than you would imagine. Just be able to distract yourself and just talk about something we all enjoy.
Yeah, they're feeding our sheep for us right now, which is huge.
Awesome.
We had to rehome all of our animals.
Our
homes. They took all of our chickens. We had rabbits. We don't eat rabbit, but we have them for fertilizer for our garden and stuff. And they all had to find new homes. We're still looking for some homes for some puppies. Anybody?
Well, if you are in the Houston, kind of greater Houston area, is that correct? So for you listeners that looking for a puppy.
Yeah. So
northeast.
North. We're not. Are we? Oh, we're northeast.
North Houston area. So you never know. Well, thank you so much for coming on. It's definitely been a blessing for us, and we hope that and we will pray and continue to believe that as you said, that this is going through a refinement, and that God has a bigger and greater purpose for you because of this.
Yes.
Thank you for coming on. And again, for you, the listeners, down in the description below, there's ways that you can give. There, you can contact them, reach out to them through me. I can forward your comments or questions onto them. But most of all, please keep the Buckles in your prayers because they definitely need it. Them and their 9 children. All right. Well, thank you for coming on and sharing your story with us. And we will just continue to keep you in your prayers. Folks, for you watching back in your rooms or in your home or on your phone, thank you all for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video.